Welcome to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Gruely True Sports Network. I'm your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I would like to introduce my co-host by lowest IQ first. So first up will be 1981 national champion Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm having the time of my life.
Okay. And I hate to go this way on you, Collin.
I was not on the Ken Sterling show today, so I'm feeling good about myself.
Yeah, but I feel good about myself because I've never listened to it. I'm just kidding, Kent. And there's no reason to have Steve Risley on when you can have a handsome man like Collin Hartman on. How you doing, Collin?
I'm doing all right, fellas.
All right. And, of course, we have a man that I just found out was raised by Steve Risley, but he can still walk upright. Cole Hanna. How you doing, Cole?
Doing good, guys. Doing good.
All right, Cole. So since you're the only one of the offspring of Steve Risley, which God knows how many there are scattered around the country,
not that many. I wasn't that good.
With their mom with imprints of a championship ring on their forehead, could you go ahead and tell us what the big takeaway you have from looking at the stat sheet was?
Yeah, the big one, I thought it was a tale of two halves for the game, to be honest. The big one to me wasn't even from, the entire game box score. It was the first half box score, which was 8 turnovers in the first half for IU and 16 Iowa points off those turnovers. That was the key to the first half in that game. Iowa was able to build a 10-point lead in the first half. 3-point shooting, IU let Iowa get hot in that first half. I believe it was Wieskamp who was 4 of 4 at one point in the first half from 3. They just got some confidence out there that carried over in the second half with Bohannon, who got hot in the second half. It's probably, for the most part, the stats aren't terrible. They shot 26 of 53 from the field overall. You'll take that. 7 of 21 from 3 is not terrible, but considering where they were a few weeks ago, you'll take that. The big one is the points off turnovers, 19 points off turnovers for the game for Iowa, and just too many mistakes. I thought a lot of those turnovers came in just crucial times.
Yeah, and the thing that stood out to me, Collin, was this. And one time I was eating dinner with Dale Earnhardt, and he told me, if you don't guard the perimeter, you're not going to win. I mean, the perimeter defense was terrible, Collin.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I know these guys are being coached the way they should be coached, and I know that they're trying to learn it, obviously. It's just, especially when you try to make up for the post defense and stuff like that, and you got guys hurt and in and out, and you got guys that are inconsistent. It's tough to get the production that we want. Inconsistency is going to blow games for us, and I think that's the biggest thing for us right now is that inconsistency. Just because we have glimpses and flashes of greatness, like we can beat good teams. I mean, obviously we played well at Michigan State, so it's just when we have those glimpses of greatness, it's frustrating as a fan, obviously, and as a past player, just because I was part of teams like that too, where they play so well because they have it in them. But then you have games like where you have little lulls, and that's the game. Literally, I don't think they played bad against Iowa. I just think we got beat. And there were some certain areas, like Cole said, with the turnovers and like that, where we kind of beat ourselves. But I think, they were just, somewhat of a better team.
Steve, you buy that they were a better team, or did you see something else?
No, I think that Collin gets it right. The more I am watching Indiana all of a sudden now, the more impressed I'm getting with Archie Miller and the development of this basketball team. It's a process. You have to understand it's a process. We all want to compare him to Bob Knight and in the era, and we want to compare him to Tom Crean, who did a great job in his 9 years at Indiana. And we have to understand that he's building something here. And I wrote down there were fewer problems wrong with this team against Iowa than I've seen probably in the entire Big Ten season. They They are doing more things better. The perimeter defense, I think, was the Achilles heel for this team. You know, we gave up the easy threes, and still it's a problem we've dealt with, but we've minimalized a lot of the other problems. We're out-rebounding teams. We're crashing the boards better. We're being more aggressive offensively. I like everything, and he's systematically working out all these issues, and I'm really, you know, becoming a larger fan of his, mostly because I'm eating peanut butter pie for dessert, which is why I'm becoming a larger fan. But I think it's all good. I thought that we got beat by a team.
Seriously, wait a second. I can't let this go. Everybody else is sitting here. They're sitting at home. Cole and Collin are sitting there. What the hell does peanut butter pie have to do with you becoming a bigger fan?
Well, when you eat a whole peanut butter pie for dessert, you're going to gain weight. At 60 years old, it's a natural effect. Wait till you get there. Anyway,
I still don't get you.
I think we got beat.
You mean you're getting to be a bigger fat ass?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we got beat by a better team, and I'm okay with getting beat by a better team. I'm not okay with losing to an inferior team, and I don't think we did that Friday. And I still think we're in good shape to make the tournament.
Hold on, Steve. This is Friday.
Wednesday. When was the game?
It was last night,
Last night, I know.
Okay, that's Thursday. Steve.
Yeah, I'm retired. Days don't matter to me. It's sunny and 75 every day out here. I don't know what to do with myself. Give me a break. Jesus. You know, I'm at the pool. I'm walking my dogs. I'm, you know, swinging my golf club. It's weird. So it's just not normal. Anyway, Iowa was a better team than us. And they beat us because they were just a little bit better than we were. But there was so much improvement in Indiana's play. I'm comfortable with how the outcome turned out. I wish we won, but I'm comfortable with what we did and the progress we're making as a basketball team.
All right. Do you have questions now, Steve? Usually you have questions.
You know, just go ahead and ask me a question.
I don't want to ask you a question. Collin, I think the difference here is this. I just think they had more three-point shooters, and they happened to be on last night. I don't think this is a big freak-out moment because I think 2 weeks ago this game ends up 87-67.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I think that the team's getting better. And I don't think that necessarily, I mean, obviously, I'm not settling for mediocre by any stretch of imagination, but I think that, like Steve said, it's not a bad loss, in my opinion. Iowa's a good team. They have athletes. They're old. They have experienced players. They're skilled. It's just, I mean, I don't think it's a bad loss at all. And I think that this team will get better, and I think that Coach Miller is building this thing the right way. You know, the old saying or old adage, anything worthwhile takes time. I think people just need to, you know, quite candidly get off Coach Miller's back a little bit. Let the man build the program back to where you want it, just because he could do it the wrong way. He can start throwing money around and end up in the news and have strippers everywhere. Just that's a shot at Louisville, but it's just, I mean, let the dude coach. Let him do his job. Let him do what he gets paid to do. And it's just frustrating hearing fans be the way they are, just because, I mean, he's our coach.
Yeah, can I speak when you're done? Can I speak when you're done? Here's what I think. And Collin and I kind of talked about this. Collin and I had a phone conversation about a half hour ago, just kind of, you know, trying to get our stuff together and what we were going to want to talk about. I think that number 20 and number 11 are critical to the success of this basketball team. They're the unknown quantities that you have to get, and that's Deron Davis and that's Devontae Green. Collin, I think,
you're going to get the production out of Juwan and Romeo. You're going to get that.
Romeo, and we got to get Finney out of his fog. You know, I don't know if he's 100% healthy yet. I don't know, but he'll come. He'll come around because he's such a talented basketball player. I'm not worried about him, but the play of number 20 and number 11, and I'm in NASCAR mode right now, so I'm using car numbers rather than names. So don't worry about me. Is going to be what's going to separate us and move us to the forefront to where we need to be relevant in the tournament. if we're going to be relevant in tournament. But I really right now think the MVP of this basketball team is Archie Miller. I'm really starting to see him exert himself as a coach. He's more animated. I think the team's responding to him. They're changing the style and the mentality of which they play by. And I think he's had enough of the BS. And he's saying it's time to grab this thing by the kahunas and get after it. And I think he's the MVP of Indiana basketball right now. Collin, am I off base?
Not really. I don't think you're off base at all. It's plain and simple. It's not gonna happen overnight. And I think that, like you said, we need Devontae and Duran. And we spoke about that earlier. Like you said, you just gotta have to take the good and bad with Devontae, because at the end of the day, we need him as a team.
Yeah. But don't you, Collin? Yeah, Cole, jump in here whenever you want. Please don't. I'm going to dominate. Because don't you want a Devontae Green on your team, Collin, where you want a kid who's going to take risks, knowing that he's going to make mistakes? I mean, do you not? You don't want somebody who's just going to be vanilla all the time. You don't want Kent Sterling all the time. Ken Sterling in his own way is.
You leave Ken Sterling alone. He's a nice guy. Quit being an asshole.
He's a great guy. I've tweeted Kent back and forth on the interview, and I've talked, so it's fine.
So you call him vanilla? On
don't you want somebody to ask for extra sprinkles on your sundae, or somebody that wants another cherry? Somebody that is.
Where are you going with this, Steve?
I'm going to live and die with Devontae Green. He's a great player. He's a risk taker.
And I said this on the Kent Sterling show today. It was the biggest comparison that I have to Devontae. Yeah, the biggest comparison I have with Devontae is Troy Williams.
Yeah.
When you get good Troy Williams, you get great Troy Williams. But when it's either all or nothing, and that's kind of the way it is with Devontae. Is
you live and die.
You never know what you're going to get. Right. Yeah. You kind of just have to ride that wave, because when you can't love the great Devontae and then not accept him when he's not great. Especially with this team. That's just the player that he is. And he has amazing talent and amazing skills, and he makes big time plays sometimes. You have to accept that just as much as you have to accept that he's going to make some bonehead plays, and it just is what it is.
But Cole,
to your point,
here, let me say this, then you can address it.
Go ahead.
I think that Archie Miller is the coach who can get more great Devontae and minimize the disastrous Devontae. Cole, am I right or wrong there? Now make your point.
Yeah, well, first thing I just want to say is I thought Deron Davis had a really good game again last night.
Great game.
7 assists was the big 7 assists, 0 turnovers, led the team in assists. He wasn't scoring a lot, but he was doing everything else for us on the court. Yeah. As for Devontae Green, Troy Williams is a great comparison for him. I mean, that's exactly the kind of player he is. And I think Archie's trying. He's working with them. Trying to get the most out of him. Even when you have a good Devontae Green, the turnovers are still just, it has to frustrate him. Because I know it frustrates me as a fan. I understand taking risks, but there's a difference between taking risks and making a dumb play. And Devontae still makes too many dumb plays. Even when you get hot Devontae Green that's hitting his outside shots, he still has those dumb plays he makes throughout the game. And he has all the talent in the world. I mean, it's like Collin said. I mean, lack of talent is not an issue with Devontae Green. It's just putting it all together. He's one of the most talented guys on this team. But, he has to cut out the dumb plays. He's still a little bit inconsistent with his shot, too. So when he's making dumb plays and not hitting his shot, it's a bad combination with him.
Well, the problem with Devontae is he's a flashy dude. He's from New York. He's a flashy dude. That's just the way he is. He grew up playing street ball, stuff like that. So, and he tries to hit home runs every time rather than just making a simple play. And that's one of his biggest problems as well.
But how important was Babe Ruth to the Yankees? You want the guy that's going to point the ball out in the fence
You know,
Babe
You just compared
Ruth-
Devontae Green to
Babe
Babe
Ruth
Ruth.
had a lifetime batting average of 344. You know that, right? It's like the fourth highest in Major
Yes,
League
I
Baseball
know.
history.
Yeah,
He
I
didn't
get that.
strike
Yeah,
out a
behind-
lot, Steve.
But Devontae Green is not striking out a lot. I
Yes,
think
he is.
that you
He strikes out all the time.
I disagree.
Well,
I
all I
know
know is
that-
this. If I'm coaching, I guarantee you this, Bob Knight wouldn't have had him on his team. I don't remember too many guys like that play for Bob Knight. I don't remember too many guys like that play for anybody that's a great coach.
You know what, Mike? Do this because you're the Google king. Pull up Isaiah Thomas's stats and see what his stats. If you can get his career stats for 2 years,
Jesus.
what his
Okay,
turnover
so
ratio
yeah,
was.
because the comparison here is Isaiah Thomas to Devontae Green.
No, and there's no
which there's never
comparison.
been
There's
a
no
dumber comparison. Because there is
Right,
a difference between great players that take calculated risk and good players that take stupid risk. And I can tell you this, having players that are good that take stupid risk makes you to coach at Morehead State in a couple years.
Okay, Cole, do you think that Devontae's taking stupid risks, or do you think he's just taking risks? I mean, let's not even go good
Well,
risks.
if you're just taking a risk, that's stupid. You take calculated risk.
Okay, Cole, what do you
I
think?
think
You're at the game.
I think he
You're
takes.
at the games.
I think he takes stupid risks. You know, I mean, I think it's
All
very
right,
fair
fair.
criticism
All right.
of it.
Hey, and this is the
Yeah,
thing. The thing about
All right.
players that take stupid risks, they're selfish. You know, you just talked about he was flashy. He comes from a place where he played on the playground. This isn't a playground. This is 18,000 people at Assembly Hall. You got to play basketball. We're not trying to show off and get a girlfriend. You know, we're not trying to show everybody how great we are.
He's not
Go
interested
play.
in girlfriends. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I you know what I mean. And
Oh,
the point is this.
wait. Well, let's address that right now.
Wait a minute.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, 'cause
Not
either,
that he's
either
gay.
as
Not
Steve
that
says,
he's gay.
either he already has
Not that
a
he's
smoking
gay.
hot girlfriend, or you just called him gay. It's one of the two.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not gay, but he does not want to be in a committed relationship. That's what I meant by that.
Don't make that comment, Colin, unless you can back that up real quickly.
Whatever.
That's gonna
I did
draw-
back it up.
We're not the Ken Sterling show. We don't go vanilla.
How about this? You got the stat sheet in front of you, Cole?
I do, yeah.
How many minutes did he play? How many times did he turn the ball over?
Yeah, so that's where it's going, actually. 17 minutes, had 4 turnovers. That's a third of IU's total turnover.
A
number.
third. Did
In
anybody
17
else
minutes.
have 4 turnovers?
The most anyone else on the team had was 2. Justin Smith had 2 in the game.
Yeah.
And that was in 28 minutes for Justin Smith.
All right, and then let me just say a couple things here. Please attack me all you want to. First off, he handles the ball twice as much as anybody on the court,
No, he doesn't.
with the exception of Finney. Finney
How
handles
many
the ball a lot.
turnovers did Finney have last night, Cole?
He had 1.
Okay.
One
And how many
turnover
minutes
for
did he
Finney.
play?
Yeah, how many-
28.
28. 28 minutes,
28
1
minutes.
turnover.
20 minutes?
Devontae
Okay.
Green,
All right,
17
well-
minutes, 4 turnovers.
I'm going to tell you something right now. As a player who has a championship ring, and I'll say that, I want somebody who's going to take risks and make big plays and be aggressive because champions find a way.
Bullshit, Steve. You know what? A champion is Isaiah Thomas, who, when he took risk, more often than not worked. Devontae
Right.
Green hasn't. And I tell you, I was the biggest
And-
Devontae Green fan here until he gets suspended. I don't know why he got suspended, but for whatever that was selfish. He either wasn't doing schoolwork, he was doing something he wasn't supposed to do that hurt the team. I'm done with that. I don't think you win with guys like that. You win with guys that want to be a part of the bigger picture. And there's not enough guys here like this. And you guys can talk about, well, we need a third or a fourth guy. You got Romeo Langford, who's going to be a top 10 draft pick in the NBA next year. You got Juwan Morgan right there. All you need is role players around those two guys. Other teams have worked magic with teams like that. And my other question is this. What is Romeo Langford shot the ball pretty good last night, but my question to you, Cole, you've been at the games. Does that thumb or hand injury bother him more than what he's let done?
I actually question that because there's been a couple times, not only at games, but they've shown it on TV, where sometimes when he's struggling shooting, you can see him touching at it and grabbing it. I know he's had to go and get it rewrapped during games. They obviously aren't releasing much information on it. So who knows? I mean, he was not that he was a dead-eye shooter in high school, but he was much better than he's shown for most of this year. So, you got to question how much.
I watched him in high school. He could stroke it a little bit. It's not he can shoot the ball. So I think that has to be a question also. And overall here, Devontae Green was he recruited by Archie Miller?
He was a Tom Crean recruit.
That's what I thought. So I'm going to hold judgment on that, but I don't know why you want somebody to play 17 minutes, turn the ball over 4 times, in the hope that he's going to play well. Or when you put him in, if he starts doing stupid things, don't play him anymore. If he's hot, Vinnie Johnson. You remember Vinnie Johnson, right, Steve? The microwave.
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons. He went in. If he hit one of his first 2 shots, you kept him in. He was going to score 20. If he missed his first 2 shots, you didn't see him back in the game.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like Hartman, his last years of his career. Me, I never got to shoot 3-pointers, so I never was in that boat that Collin got to be.
That's because you're so damn old. There were no 3-pointers to shoot, Steve.
Exactly right, and thank God there were not. I think Devontae Green is the most important cog of this basketball team.
Well, then you're screwed because he's never going to play 6 consecutive games.
Yeah, I don't agree.
You don't?
I could coach Devontae Green into being a
better.
And not that Archie Miller can't and won't, because the fact that Archie Miller is sticking with him and playing him and giving him the minutes he's given him and the responsibilities, I think that says that Archie Miller knows how important Devontae Green is to this basketball team too. That's my opinion. I'm sure I'm standing alone on this island, but I think Devontae Green.
You're not alone. I think it is too. I think the coaches know that.
It's the key. He's the key to this basketball team. It's the key. He's the key to making this team turn the corner.
I agree.
And get relevant.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
think Archie is taking the right steps to get him to turn the corner. You got to give him a chance to learn and figure it out.
So what did you see? Wait a second. He's been here 2 years now. What did you see last night that tells you, or 3 years? What tells you from what you saw last night?
Here's what I saw. Okay, Mike. I saw him seeking the ball. It's the first time I've seen somebody seeking the basketball. Really. Other than Juwan in the paint, I don't see Romeo really seeking the ball. Romeo gets the ball and then does something with it when he gets it.
Yeah.
I just see Justin go to the hole hard when he gets the ball. I saw Devontae Green putting his hands out and saying, "Give me the rock." And I looked at that and said, that impresses me that here's a kid who's saying, "Get the ball in my hands. I will make something happen." Right now, it may be 50-50 whether it's good or bad, but the more you put it in his hands, the more he's going to learn to do what to do with it, the better he's going to get, the better the team's going to get. It's an investment in Devontae Green right now. I saw him seeking the ball. That's what impressed me with Devontae Green.
Why do they only play him
Collin,
17 minutes?
Am I right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they need him.
They need him.
Well, to me here, Steve, the question is not, when Devontae Green is on, when he's feeling it, there's no doubt he's an important cog to the team. He makes them much better. That's not the question to me. Because Devontae Green will have good games. It's can he make that good game 2 good games in a row? Can he string that into 3 good games in a row? Can he be reliable like that? To me, he hasn't shown me he can do that. He'll have a good game here and there, for sure. But, that's not a guy you want to rely on if he's having a good game every few games. You want someone that's going to be up the bench and bring you some consistency. And Devontae Green's not that guy. He's like he's a spark plug. If
you already have a consistency with Juwan and Romeo.
Cole, how do you build consistency? How do you build consistency, Cole?
Well, no, but see, that's a problem with Devontae. You want to play him, right? You got to play him to build consistency, right?
Right.
You got to let him loose. But you can't keep playing him if he's going to make stupid turnovers. You can't turn the ball over 4 times in 17 minutes.
I watched for 5 years Collin Hartman, who I think is one of the greatest shooters IU never used effectively, run through the lane, never looking for the ball. And so I'm a Collin, and my wife will validate this, that Collin, look for the damn ball and shoot the damn ball. I could never communicate that to Collin. I've watched players stand there, and I saw Devontae have his hands open on the offense looking for the basketball. That's a great start.
All right, well,
that's a great start. So, let's build on it.
Do you think Devontae Green should have played more last night then?
I would probably never pull him out of the game. I'd let him make his mistakes and play him.
So who are you going to play him over then? Are you playing him over Fantasy? Or who are you putting him in over then?
Because Steve wants him over Fantasy.
I'm putting him and Fantasy in the backcourt, and I'm putting Romeo at a shooting guard or shooting forward. I'm putting Smith and Morgan in and alternating somebody else to fill another spot, whoever's feeling it that night, whoever had a good week in practice or whatever. But I think you need consistency at your guard play right now. Indiana does. They need to get consistent now. They've got to stop jacking around with, who's good, who's not, and they've just got to go with people now. They've got to build a franchise and build a team. And you're not going to do it by saying, I kind of trust Devontae, I kind of don't trust Devontae. Either you go with him or sit his ass on the end of the bench and leave him there for the rest of the year. I personally, if I was coaching Indiana, he'd be playing 38 or 40 minutes for me. I'd say, I'll live with your mistakes. And Collin, I coached you enough times. And
oh, God. Collin, I told you to shoot the ball every time you got a chance, didn't I?
Did I not tell you that, Collin? Did I tell you that?
What's your
Collin,
point?
shoot the ball every time you get it. If you don't shoot it, I'm only going to pull you out if you don't shoot the ball, because that's your job. And I don't care if you miss them or not. Just shoot the damn ball, because you're better than everybody else. And that's where I think Devontae Green is on this basketball team. Fantasy will control. He'll bring it up. He'll beat the press. He's quick. He's a good ball handler. But you got Devontae in there, and you just want that kid in the game. That's my opinion.
See, the big area I disagree with you here is, to me, outside of Juwan and Romeo here, guy
I have the dockage buzzer. Can I just cut Cole off now?
No, why would we cut Cole off? Cole's the only one right here. Go ahead, Cole.
To me, the guy I like after Romeo and Juwan the most in this team is Al Durham. I think that's their third best player right now.
I don't know why you would start Devontae Green over Al Durham. That's stupid.
Because Al Durham is a good guy, like a Jimmy Thomas in my era, that comes in off the bench and brings you a spark and gives you a drive, makes a big play quickly. I mean, he makes a big play quickly.
So you don't want a guy that'll make a big play quickly on the court, just every once in a while.
I'm just telling you as a coach, I'd rather have Devontae in the game more than I would Durham.
I can tell you
I want Durham to come in off the bench.
That's unbelievably – I don't even know how to quantify that. Al Durham played his ass off last night. Al Durham may be the hardest worker.
Thomas
no, just don't give me that shit. Jimmy Thomas was a role player. Al Durham's a guy that can come in and score 12 or 15 points a night. Hal Greer was not a role player.
Well, somebody look at Cole. What is Al Durham's scoring average right now for the year?
On the season, it is 8.5.
Oh, there you go. 15 points a game. There you go, Mike.
Yeah, if you play him all the time.
Freaking hit 15 points in one game.
If you didn't have Devontae Green in the game turning the ball over.
My wife is using my computer to apply for jobs, so
what's that mean?
I don't have my computer.
Yeah. What's that mean? You don't have your computer. What's your point?
No, it means I want, I need a Ferrari, so we're trying to get her to make more money.
I mean, you called Hal Greer a role player.
Hal Greer?
Yeah. You said Hal Greer, didn't you?
No,
you said he was a role player like Hal Greer. Is that not what he said, Cole?
I didn't hear, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Was Hal Greer?
Yeah. All right, whatever. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's move on
to Deron.
Steve's losing, so you got to do something.
Let's move on to Deron Davis.
You don't want to start Deron Davis, so.
No, I think he should be starting.
Wait a second, because you just gave us 5 starters and you didn't say Deron Davis.
No, I said you start.
Yeah.
Devontae, you start Fennessy, you start Juwan, then you go with Justin Smith, then you go with Deron Davis.
That's not what you said. You said then you'll start whoever played best in practice that week.
Well, then you got a spot you can rotate around. Yeah, if it's Justin Smith.
You not have Romeo in the starting five?
Yeah, I said Romeo. Yeah,
he said Romeo is going to be the small forward. Steve's confused.
The small forward, yeah. But then the fifth spot, you just say who's playing well. Is it Durham or is it Justin Smith? Who's giving you the most effort on that given night?
I thought you said Justin Smith was the fourth guy, and then the fifth guy was the one that was open.
No.
Hey, Collin, was it mass confusion on your AAU basketball team? Would he come out and tell 6 of you you're starting?
No.
All right. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm done. Never mind. Y'all figure it out. y'all go get your own rings and then talk to me.
Oh, y'all go get your own ring. Because Steve coached that team, by the way. Knight just let him take over during the tournament. So let's look at.
A kid of high school. I took a kid of a group of high school kids from one school and finished 6th in the AAU national tournament.
And 6 is good.
All right, now that's unheard of because most AAU teams are all-star teams. Collin wouldn't play with us because he only wanted to play for Adidas Elite or some AAU all-star team. I took a kid of all kids that played from one high school and took him to 6th place.
I thought you weren't allowed to have all kids from the same high school in AAU.
No, you can at a certain age, under the age of before they get into high school.
So they were 8,
do it.
And you coached them to 6th place.
No, I think they were 12 or 13 or 14. There was U13 and under, something like that. But anyway, the point to that is that you can build high-performing teams with various components and role players.
Yeah. Not with guys
and we did that.
Make a lot of mistakes.
And Collin was out playing for Adidas Elite and playing in Vegas, getting free shoes, getting tons of money from somebody to go play somewhere. And we were bringing home a big trophy, which I still have the trophy. And it's a very cool trophy.
You keep 6th place trophies.
My freshman year when I played for Indiana Elite, we won Vegas. We got first in the country.
That's not as good as 6th,
But did you win the national championship? Did you win the national championship?
Yeah, that is it.
Oh, you did? Oh.
That was it. I had that trophy. That's what I'm talking about. We won. We got first place in the country.
I hate that when you're right.
Just think, you could have finished 6th with Steve's team.
I mean, we just had a bunch of dudes that did their job. None of them. I mean, I could probably count on one hand how many of them went to Division I basketball. But just a bunch of dudes that did the job.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the next game.
Deron Davis. Let's talk about Deron Davis. Collin, is he healthy?
4-hour show.
He's healthy. He's just not in shape, which I think is going to be a battle that we fight all year. So take it out. That's just something we have to deal with, in my opinion, because we do need that dude, especially with injuries and stuff like that.
He played well. He played well.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the dude they need.
All right. Move on. I guess I'm toast. I'm being outruled by 3 of you. So.
No, you're not. You got something else to talk about? Talk about it.
Ohio State. Let's move on to Ohio State. We lost the game. We played well. I was more pleased with this loss. It's one of these times where I will get up and admit for the first time I think Indiana learned something from this loss, and I hate saying that
for the first time.
Yeah.
Even though you've admitted it multiple times in between disagreeing with me.
I just said that. I said that. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
But this is not the first time that you've admitted we were right. So.
Yeah, so you guys are right. I think Indiana learned something about themselves. I think we found some things that we're good at that we didn't know, and I don't think the loss is as important as what we learned about ourselves as a basketball team.
And see, I disagree right now.
Okay.
I
Speak your point.
It's 13-10 now. Any loss now is a bad loss, no matter who it's to.
Yeah, we have no
Because
margin of error.
You're now one of the first four out, probably at best. You've got to play a decent Ohio State team, and I think if they lose this game, I think the best you're going to get is the NIT out of this, Collin, and that worries me because I think this team's better than that.
So you think that you think we have to win out, basically?
Not win out, but I think the 19 wins. I mean, you still got to go to Michigan State, and I'm sure Tom Izzo's going to figure that out. You still got to play a Purdue team that's hot as hell right now. You got to play a Wisconsin team.
Wait a minute, we don't go to Michigan State. We already beat Michigan State.
Michigan State,
you idiot.
Michigan State comes here then. What the hell's the difference?
Right.
It's Michigan State.
So we have to go to Michigan State and play. We already beat them there.
Yeah. What's your point?
Yeah. Well, I'm just correcting you like you always correct me.
Yeah, as I always correct you. You got one shot.
You
took it. I'm proud of you. All right.
Thank you.
But, yeah, when you look at the rest of the schedule, Collin, I think there's a worry where the wins are going to come from. If you don't get this one, Ohio State may be the weakest outside of the Illinois and Rutgers that's left on the schedule. That's why I say – and the other thing is this, even if you beat Michigan State, the way Michigan State's playing right now, there's no guarantee that by the time you get to Selection Sunday that they're a Quadrant 1 win anymore.
Michigan State's a Quadrant 1 team. They will always be a Quadrant 1 team.
Okay. So they just lost to Illinois. They're going to drop down to what? Probably around 15, somewhere between 15 and 18 in the country. What if they keep losing? You know?
Aren't the top 50 teams Quadrant 1 teams, Mike?
I have no clue. You're the one that knows about that because I could really care less about Quadrant whatever.
Yeah, well, top 50 teams are Quadrant 1 teams. MSU's not going anywhere.
It depends where you play them. I believe top 50 on the road is Quadrant 1. If you beat them at home, it's top 30 would be considered Quadrant 1.
Okay, so
they're not going to drop out of the top 30.
You're gonna host Ohio State, but you're gonna go to Minnesota, which is, I mean, I'm sure I haven't played there, but I'm sure it's a tough place to play. You're gonna come back and play Purdue at home. You're gonna go to Iowa, which we all just said they're the better team. So if you're going to Iowa, chances are, unless they're really off that night, that may not work out that well. You got to host Wisconsin, who's really good. You've got to host Michigan State, which, like I said, I'm sure Izzo will have his stuff together by then. And then you go to Illinois, and let's not forget, Illinois just beat Michigan State at Illinois. So I think this is a big game because when I look at it, I would assume the Ohio State's a win. Minnesota, I would say 50-50, actually probably on the south side of 50-50. Indiana, Purdue, I mean, really, I could see us losing those two games, losing to Iowa. Then before you know it, you're 14-13, and you still got Wisconsin and Michigan State. I just think the math here looks shaky by the way this team's play because you got to remember this. We're putting an awful lot of, credence in one win at Michigan State where we lost 7 straight before that. The next game after that, and Michigan State went to Illinois and got beat. We are still 1-8 in our last 9 games. And I know Quadrant 1's all great and everything, but doesn't the NCAA put a lot of credence on your last 10 games you play also? So I think there's some issues here.
I thought the Quadrant games took that away. I thought there was just Quadrant wins based on where the teams
I'll tell
were
you
ranked
what,
the
Quadrant thing.
Am I right or wrong?
There's
I may be
nobody.
Wrong.
I don't think the NCAA has ever picked anything by a set. This is what we're going to do.
You're right.
I think
good point, Mike. Great point.
I think they're trying to get the best 68 teams in the tournament. And right now, Indiana is not one of the best 68 teams in the tournament. And if you're saying that, you're kidding yourself because this team has been 1-8 in the last 9 games. And if they win out, they will have been 10-8 in the last 8 games or last 18 games. So I really think there's some issues with getting in the tournament because the other thing is this. Teams that get in the tournament that are 18-13 play in tough conferences. This is a tough conference. But you're also going to have, 2 or 3 teams that you're battling with that you might have already lost to. And I think it's going to be hard for this team to get in because it's not like we have a history over the last 10 or 15 years of making runs in the tournament either. which I think comes into play on this also. I mean, come on, guys. It's just they've got to win some games. I mean, we can sit here, well, Iowa was better, but we're at a point where it doesn't matter who's better. They just need wins.
All right, let's pull it up here real quick. Cole, pull up the schedule. Anybody's on the computer, pull up the schedule.
I got the schedule.
IU schedule? Yeah,
I got it.
I'm looking at it right now. Okay, so who do we got left to play?
You host Ohio State. You go to Minnesota.
We go to Minnesota. Then we got Purdue at home.
Yeah,
so
at Iowa.
We can beat Ohio State at home.
Have to.
At Minnesota, we should win that game, but
should?
we may not.
No.
That's
That's not a
should.
should. That's not a should.
Purdue at home, that's going to be tough.
Not a
at
should.
Iowa,
That's
a
not
loss.
a should.
At Iowa is a loss.
Wisconsin's not a should. Minnesota, Purdue, and Wisconsin's are we could. They're not we should.
Right. There's no more we. I think is there another we should win, Collin?
At Illinois and Rutgers. And Ohio State.
We should win.
I think those are the only two that we,
that we should win. Otherwise, we could win.
Well, I think we should win the Ohio State game. If you get that puts you at 16 wins. You've got 5 games against really good teams. I think if you could win 2 of those and get it 1 or 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament, I think you get in. But if you lose Ohio State, you're looking at having to win maybe 3 out of those 5 games to be relevant in this.
Yeah, I can't argue with you.
And the thing is this, a loss to Ohio State or a loss to Minnesota, those could be teams that could be on the bubble with you when the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose to Ohio State at home, the quadrant thing is not going to be as big a deal, I don't think. I mean, if Ohio State comes in here and smacks Indiana in the mouth, that's a huge issue. So I think this game is of the utmost importance. Sure, they could lose that game and then win out. Stranger things have happened. But when I look at a team that's 1-8 in the last 9 games, I just don't see a lot of confidence that could happen.
I can't debate you on that one, Mike. I'd be an idiot to debate you.
Yeah, I was excited too when they beat Michigan State, but when we did the show, it's the next game's what mattered, and the next game they came up short. And I don't think Iowa is more talented than Indiana. I think they play better as a team. I think they move the ball on the perimeter better. They defend the perimeter a little bit better. That's the difference. That's why they're better. It's not because they have better players. It's just because they are a better team right now. Now, maybe that'll change against Ohio State. But then the question is, what are they going to do when they go to Minnesota 6 days later? Because we have not seen consistency all year. Even when this team was winning, it wasn't consistent. And we were all sitting here saying they haven't played 40 minutes yet. And you know what? We're sitting here a couple months later, and outside of the Michigan State game, I don't know if they've played 40 minutes in a game. That's a huge issue.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's inconsistency. There's nothing to argue there, to be honest with you. It's just they have to win games. It's cut and dry.
I guess the question I would have is, are we seeing an improvement in consistency, Collin? Are we seeing an improvement in the amount of time we're consistent versus where we were 5 games in the losing streak versus now we're, where we are now? Are we seeing an improvement?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. I mean, like I said earlier, the frustrating thing is when you see a team like that we saw against Michigan State. Like, that was a team that was resilient on the road in a hostile environment against a hungry team. It's frustrating to see a team like us because we have the talent, but at the same time, we're not playing like it. We're not consistently playing like that, and that's the most frustrating thing. I think we're getting a little bit better in consistency, but at the end of the day, I think we should be winning more games. Quite frankly, I do.
Put it like this, Steve. When they went to Michigan State, Collin, Steve, Cole, when they went to Michigan State, nobody expected them to win. They went out, they fought their ass off, and they won. They come back to play Iowa. Everybody has expectations. And then they didn't play like that. They went to Rutgers. Everybody expects they're going to win that game. They didn't play like that. So, I mean, the Michigan State team to me, Michigan State is missing one of their best players at the time they're playing. Nothing's expected from Indiana. They're playing with nothing to lose. There's no pressure. Last night there was pressure.
Yeah, Mike, you're right.
There's going to be pressure at every game from here on out.
Yeah. And
that's
what I'm worried about, because you know what?
Yeah.
When I was sitting with Dale Earnhardt and we were eating dinner, this would have been back in the early 80s, because we were trying to see who could buy the biggest bottle of wine to show each other up. But what he told me was...
Oh, that's so unfair.
What he told me was, he looked at me and he said, Mike, he said, someday, he said, you're going to sit with Steve Risley. And I want you to look at him and tell him that the one thing I learned while racing at Daytona was pressure burst pipes. And I think he told me that knowing that 30-some years later we'd be sitting here doing this show, and this would be the perfect time to bring up the fact that pressure burst pipes.
Yeah, I just got a tweet. From
If it's from Dale Earnhardt, we've got a story.
No, I just got a tweet. Ken String just said asshole. That's all he said. So.
Well, you are an asshole, Steve.
I know. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't mind being
That's
an
fine.
asshole.
You're
There's
just
no
jealous
problem
because
with
I
that.
actually know Dale Earnhardt, and you sat in the vicinity one time.
You knew Dale Earnhardt. He's dead now.
Yeah, I know. He's dead. He still comes and talks to me every once in a while, though. All right, guys. Are we ready to wrap this up? We're about an hour in, and I got another show to do.
One last thing. Collin, what do we need to do to right this ship and get it going in the right direction in 5 seconds? Everybody, what?
Defend the perimeter better. Limit turnovers and.
Cole?
Yeah, I mean, defend the perimeter.
Cool.
You know, they've got to limit turnovers too. Cool. I think that's another big thing. They can't turn the ball over like they did against Iowa.
All right, Collin?
I have one word: is consistency. I mean, that's
consistency
along with sense of urgency. It's just that's what the team needs.
Yeah. I would say leadership and sense of urgency. Yeah, there's a great sense of urgency for this basketball team right now. Mike, what does this team need to do to right its ship?
Guts. They're backed up against the wall. You either fight or you don't. That's it. That's all this comes down to. It's not leadership. It's not execution. It's just guts. How bad do you want this when it comes down to it? You're 13-10. If you want to make the tournament, go out and take it. If not, I'm sure Minnesota and Ohio State would love to take your place. And that's what I would tell my team. I would just say, hey, it's either you want it or you don't. I mean, you go bounce your head off the floor, go after the damn ball. And if you want to throw the ball away and make stupid, selfish mistakes, you can sit your ass next to me. That's it. Because you know what? The Devontae Green thing, those mistakes are easily controllable. Don't be stupid when you play the game. That's it.
That comes from a coach.
It's just don't be stupid, because I'm telling you this. I've coached guys like this before, and usually what I'll do is I'll walk up and I'll put my arm around them and I say, if you make a mistake like that again when this game's over, I'm going to cut your ass, because there's 500 other guys that would love to have your job right now that'll be here tomorrow morning. So you take all the chances you want, but they better work out, because I will play a guy that takes chances if I'm winning. If I'm not, why do I want a guy that's causing me to lose a game? Because in the end, stupid mistakes is what loses. The team that makes the fewest mistakes almost always wins the game. It's not the team that takes the most chances. It's the team that limits their mistakes. This team has not done that yet.
I couldn't put it any better. Well said.
I know you could, because I'm a lot smarter than you. All right.
No doubt. Sunday, what are we doing?
We're going to do a show after the game, aren't we? Oh, no. Daytona 500's on.
You know what?
Hey, Collin, blow me, dude, all right? Got the big head because he got to talk to Kid Sterling. God, Kent Sterling doesn't have a
my
national championship ring like Steve Risley does.
I don't know. Sunday, I'm
Ken Sterling's not a dick like Mike Goodpaster.
Wow.
Really? So you're going to
No,
call me?
Sterling just
That is
Sterling
so
just tweeted me
mean.
and said the Goodpaster's a bigger dick than Risley is.
No,
So
he
there you
didn't.
go.
No, what he texted you was Goodpaster has a bigger dick than Risley does.
That may, yeah, I may have left that part out. But
Yeah,
all right.
you may have.
You
may have.
Sunday, what time
Quite
is the game
detailed.
Sunday? Cole, what time we play Sunday?
1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
Cole, do we have your post game? Post Iowa game? Mike, have you put that up yet?
Yeah, I've got it. I haven't put it up yet because then after you sent it to me, you called me immediately and kept me on the phone so long I couldn't get it up before the show was over or done.
Okay.
But it will be up.
Cole, when do we have a pregame Ohio State?
I can get that to you tomorrow here. Should be.
All right, do you have
tomorrow.
Goodpaster's email? Do you have Goodpaster's email?
I do not. No.
Yeah, what's the secret, Cole? So
Ask him for his email so you can quit sending his crap through me because I'm not an editor.
no, he's not
Sunday,
really.
I'll
He's
be
not
on
an editor.
Sunday, but I'll tell you what, Sunday we have Daytona qualifying at 9 in the morning out here in LA, and we got the Busch Clash.
I thought you said the Daytona
noon.
500 was this Sunday.
No, the Daytona 500 is a week from this Sunday.
You told me last night because I said it just doesn't matter.
No,
Nobody
we have
cares about
qualifying.
it, so.
We have qualifying for the Daytona 500, and then we have the Busch Clash.
Yeah, so
which
you're
is
going to be. What is the Busch Clash? Is that where everybody?
It's
that
where
sucks
all the
races,
pole
or-
winners and all the previous Daytona 500 winners all getting like this wreck a car thing, made for TV event where they just go 75 laps and trash a car and go out and have a good old racing boogity booty, have at it, and they
Boogity
just
what?
wreck cars. And,
Boogity what?
it's kind of what they do. It's kind of like being on the interstate in California. It's like it's just go out and hit something because it's going to hit you if you don't hit it. So, but I'll watch the IU game and be on and do the IU show. Although Daytona is now my first love.
Yeah, but nobody really cares about Daytona outside of you and the ghost of
There you
Dale
go.
Earnhardt, who I once had dinner with. And he said to tell you, Risley, to shut the hell up because it's getting
Okay,
old.
I'm done.
All right, Collin, you
Wrap
got
it up.
anything smart to say before we wrap up the show? Because Risley just took up an hour and didn't say anything even halfway intelligent.
Colin, what'd you have for dinner?
A little bit of Mexicano. There's a nice little restaurant right next door to my apartment.
Taco
Rosita's.
Bell?
A hole in the
Taco
wall.
Bell?
Hell no, it's Rosita's. It's a little hole in the wall. It's great.
We have El
Yeah,
Pollo
I'm
Loco out
All
here,
right,
which is
Col-
an upgraded
Colin,
Taco Bell.
Do you not have anything to say, or did just Steve interrupt you and throw you off?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm
Cole,
good.
what'd you have to eat for dinner, Cole?
Sunday.
Nothing so far.
Dorm food. Dorm
We'll
food.
have to get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
He's
Risley, are you
yeah.
done?
I'm never done, but I'll shut up. Well, I'm
All right,
never
we're going
done.
to wrap it up right now, and we will be back Sunday on Indiana basketball post-game show around 3 to 3:15. All right. We will check you out on Sunday. You can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube.
Hey, wait, I had a
Spotify.
question. I
knew
had a
you
question.
would. That's why I did it half-ass. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
know. Colin, do you think you could call and see if we can get Kent Sterling on as a guest on our show?
Kent
I don't know
will
if he
on
wants
our
to come
show.
on our show. He probably don't want you guys.
We'll make him like cookies and cream instead of vanilla by the time we're done with him. We'll have him cussing and hanging up on Risley like everybody else does.
No doubt. My wife hangs up on me. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm about to hang up on you right now. All right. We're going to wrap this up. So, for Collin Hartman, Steve Risley, Cole Hanna, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth.
Mike.
Yes, Collin.
Don't. You can't do that, Collin.
Yes, he can.
You can't do that.
Say something, Collin. Say something, Collin. Come on.
Come on, Collin. Be good now. It better be good.
It better be good.
Yeah. Mike.
Hey, Collin, what'd you have for dinner?
Guess what day it is?
It's hump day. It's hump day.
Hump day, yeah.
Hump day.
All right, guys. For Cole Hanna, Collin Hartman, Steve Risley, and the ghost of Dale Earnhardt, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.